Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Christian here. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today I'm bringing you a different style of video. Today we're going to be talking about some brands. This is kind of like a segue into what I hope will be a new series on my channel. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of brands that have taken a concept, no matter what that makeup concept might be, and they have milked it for all it's worth, like literally for all it's worth. And they keep coming out with more products. Now, I do want to kind of give the disclaimer that most of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about today I actually do love and I do enjoy. So I just kind of thought that it would be kind of like a fun way, because we always, especially I feel like the beauty community lately is, in some ways it's getting kind of restless, because every time you hop on Trendmood's website or you go on a blog and somebody's releasing something new, it's kind of like, oh, well, we've already seen that and that's already been done before. Well, in this case, we have already seen it. It has been done before. And let's do something new, shall we? So a little disclaimer, no hate, I love all of these brands. Some of these brands actually release some of like my favorite makeup products ever. So this is not meant to be hateful, it's just meant to be a little bit, alright, it's meant to be a little bit shady, let's be real. So if you guys are interested in this video, then you're definitely in the right place and you're gonna wanna go ahead and keep on watching. But before I get into the video, I just want to say that if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget to subscribe before you head out. If you are not new to my channel and you do enjoy my content and you already are subscribed, don't forget to hit that little notification bell down below. It really does help my channel out a lot. That way you're notified of all future videos and we don't have to worry about YouTube like playing my entire existence. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I feel like in the beauty community, it's to the point now where, you know, when a brand releases something new and something fresh and it's so successful and it kind of maybe brings a little life back into their brand, or people start getting really, really excited about that product, then the brand, I guess, gets hopeful or excited, and then they keep releasing and keep releasing and keep releasing like the same, not necessarily the same product over and over again, but they keep releasing similar products, or it's a volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, and it's to the point now where it's kind of like, we want to see something new, we want to see something different. Or in this case, the first brand that I'm going to talk about, I actually genuinely love what I'm about to talk about, but I kind of feel like, all right, you've done it, we got the point, you released every color that could possibly be like a thing, and let's do something different, shall we? I am talking about Anastasia Beverly Hills and their glow kits. So I personally, in my collection, have I actually have 7 here, and I actually just purchased the new one from Ulta. And I want to say that the only one that I'm missing is the Aurora palette and maybe one more. I have the Moonchild. I have the holiday, I believe the holiday 2016-2017 Ultimate Glow Kit, which I probably should just declutter because I don't like it. I have the Nicole Guerrero Glo Kit. We have the Glow Kit in Gleam. We have That Glow, Sun Dipped, and Sugar. Anastasia actually makes some amazing, amazing highlighters, like really freaking good highlighters, and they are so bomb. But I feel like when we're at this many glow kits plus the 2 that I don't, plus the 1 or 2 that I don't own, when you have this many in a collection, I feel like it's kind of like, okay, what else is there to do? I mean, you have your Moonchild one, which is going to be a little bit more iridescent. That's going to have like your blues, a little bit more blues and pinks and green iridescence. You have your Sun Dipped one that's gonna, mine is a little bit broken, but you have your Sun Dipped one that's gonna give you a little bit more bronzy glow. You have the one of the original, which is the Gleam, which is gonna have like pinks and more bronzes and more golds. You have the That Glow, which is another one of the originals. You have like your champagnes, more of a white gold. You have more of a bronzy gold in here as well. I mean, it's to the point now where they've already all been released. Now I personally love Anastasia Beverly Hills highlighters. Let me swatch 1 or 2. So this is the they don't make this one anymore, so let me swatch one that, are any of these still available? I guess we'll do the Moonchild, because I know, I'm not sure, a lot of these are limited editions. So this is the Moonchild palette, this is the shade Star in the Moonchild palette, and that is the pigment there. Let's go ahead and take the Gleam palette, which was no longer available, but we'll go ahead and take Starburst, which was re-released in one of her newer palettes. And they're just beautiful, high shine. Now, the original formulation does not have glitter, but for example, the Nicole Guerrero one does. definitely have a little bit more glitter, and I want to say that I've heard that her newer one does as well, which I actually did purchase. What I would like to see Anastasia do is come out with like a kit, like an empty 4-pan palette or 6-pan palette or whatever the case may be, and let you either buy these individually or let you build your own kit. Because a lot of times when you buy these highlighter palettes, or even, it doesn't matter what it is, highlighter, contour, bronzing palettes, anything like that, not every shade is gonna work for you. There's a couple in here, like which one is this one? The Sugar palette, all 4 shades in here actually do work for me. So what I would like her to see her brand come out with is a customizable like glow kits. If she's gonna keep doing them and keep making them, just release a bunch of different highlighters the way she does in her single shadows. These typically retail for 40 bucks, so maybe charge 12 bucks a highlighter, and then if you buy them in the pan, then you get it for the 40, but if you only want one individual, charge 12 bucks, you know what I mean? So that way you can get the great quality of these highlighters, but without the continuation of more glow kits, because we don't need no more glow kits. I mean, highlighter palettes in general have just taken over the freaking world. There's so many, and there's no reason for this, like, except for the fact that I genuinely love the brand and genuinely love the formulation. That's why I continue to purchase them. That's kind of what I wish she would do. She's gonna either start releasing single glow kits, single highlighters again, because her single highlighters were amazing, or release customizable glow kits. I think that that would be pretty cool. But at this point, the glow kit situation, we've seen it. It's been beaten to death. You rode it home. We got the point. You make some pretty good highlighters. Let's see something else. Okay, so the next brand is probably tied for worst offender. No, they're not. I'm sorry. They're not. They come in second place for worst offender. Let's talk about, excuse me, I have everything on the floor. I don't know why I decided to do that. I'm looking at you, Urban Decay. Urban Decay and their Naked series. I am so unbelievably happy that their most recent release, like palette, the Born to Run palette, was not a naked type palette. I'm so excited to see something different and something new from them. So we have the original Naked one, which I was obsessed with. I mean, I love all of my Naked palettes. As time has gone on, I don't love them as much as I used to because my collection has definitely grown, and there's definitely more things that I've tried and played with, but I still think that they are staples. They are still, you know, I feel like everybody who loved makeup a couple years ago has these in their collections if they haven't decluttered them. Then you had the Naked 2, which was a little bit more cool toned. Then you had the Naked 3, which was a little bit more rosy toned. Then you had the Naked Smoky, which is definitely a little bit more smoky. Now, I will say that the packaging of the Naked Smoky and then the Naked Heat are definitely my favorite. And then, of course, the newest one and probably my favorite is the Naked Heat. Now, as each Naked palette has come out, they have definitely improved and gotten better. The original palettes were just a lot of shimmer, basically, with maybe like 1 or 2 mattes. Now they have a full variety of colors. This is the Naked Heat. They have, which is, like I mentioned, my favorite one. They have shimmers, metallics, and then they have plenty of matte shades to complete an entire look. So, but, you guys, they didn't stop at just these 5. Then we have the 2 Naked Basics 1 and 2, which I personally do not own. The little mini sizes, which one was a little bit more cool tone. I believe one was a little bit more neutral. I'll put pictures of them somewhere in the video so you can see. Then we had the Naked Heat Petite. Then we have the Naked Ultimate Basics, which was just a bunch of different matte shades, cool tones and warm tones, and a couple of neutrals in there as well, which does complement any more all shimmer palette or any palette that just needs to be grounded a little bit more. The Naked Basics was a pretty good little buy. I haven't reached for it in a while. This was from a couple of years ago, and I bought this just because of the nakedness of it. This was the Naked on the Run palette, and when you open this guy up, it came with your eyeshadows. It came with a bronzer that was way too warm, a blush that was way too pink, and an itty bitty highlighter. And then you have your lip products. You had a mascara, which I need to take out of here and use actually, if it's still good, and a eyeliner. And the whole concept of this was Naked on the Run. So they basically took some of the shades out of this guy, like put it in here, and it was supposed to be an all-in-one palette. But my thing with that is, like, why did it have to be a naked palette? You know what I mean? I feel like they just had so much success. I mean, because the initial naked palette took the internet, took YouTube by storm. But I feel like at this point, I mean, they've discontinued this guy. They don't make it anymore. But even if you have this in your collection, between these 5, I mean, the only other thing that I can think of that they could release at this point is like a Naked Colorful, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of naked palettes to begin with, but, or at least from what my representation of naked palettes would be. But that's about the only other thing that they can do. And if they come out with like a Naked Colorful, I am boycotting Urban Decay and I am done. But I feel like this is another brand that took a concept that was a good idea many, many years ago, and they keep revisiting that particular concept, and they keep releasing more products, even though nobody is asking for more naked palettes. Like, nobody. Most people, I watch a lot of YouTubers now that are kind of like, oh, you know, back in the day I loved, you know, the naked palettes, but now that I'm a little bit more makeup savvy or my collection has grown, I don't really love them so much. So Urban Decay, why are we still releasing them? Okay, I did like this though, so I do appreciate them releasing this palette because I do like it a lot. But why did it have to be a naked palette? I think at this point they just slap the naked palette, like naked, on their palettes because they know naked palettes are gonna sell. And it's a very great, like, all of this that we're talking about today is smart marketing, but I'm ready for new. So that's why I was so excited about the new Urban Decay Born to Run palette, because it's new, it's something different. It's not one specific color scheme. Like most of their palettes, the original naked palettes tell very specific color stories, whereas the new, so if like rosy tones didn't speak to you, then what, you know what I mean? Whereas the new naked palette, or the new Born to Run palette, can speak to you on so many different levels because it has some warm tones, it has some deep dark shades, it has your mattes, it has your shimmers, it has everything in there. So whereas these palettes are very specific use and very specific like need. So I'm glad to see Urban Decay doing some other things. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about, I think I'm gonna save the worst offender for last. So the next brand we're gonna talk about is the Lorac Pro formulation. And the fact that Lorac is very underrated. I do enjoy their eyeshadows. A lot of people will think that they're a little bit too powdery, so they're hard to blend, or they kind of just blend away. I genuinely enjoy Lorac palettes, especially the first one. I feel like the first one was a staple, like an absolute staple, super, super necessary, especially, you know, just like the original naked palette several years back, these palettes definitely came in handy. Now, one thing that I will say about especially this guy, as opposed to say the Urban Decay, I feel like this palette was more universally flattering. You had your 8 mattes, your 8 shimmers. It went from very light to very dark. You were able to get more out of this palette than say the original naked palette. And it was a really, really good palette. So then they came out with the Lorac Pro 2, which was a little bit more of a cool tone palette, which again, I was super excited about. I didn't reach for this one as much. I do like, when I look at it, I do like the color story of this palette. I think I just didn't really reach for it a lot because it was a little bit more cool toned, and I will admit that I do have a little bit harder time working with cool tone shadows. Then they released the Lorac Pro 3, which I thought was going to be my favorite, but I actually didn't end up liking this one as much. This one is a very, very, very neutral palette. It had some really, really pretty colors in here, but it was just one of those things that I never reached for. But again, it was the Pro formulation. I liked the Pro formulation. I had the other two, so I felt like I had to complete my collection. Then you had the Mega Pros. So if these weren't enough, they had to start releasing Mega Pros. And there actually is 4 of these, but I did not purchase the one from holiday of last year, and they're actually coming out with a Pro 4 coming out very soon, which is basically just a soft glam palette kind of in Lorac situation. So the first one that they came out with was, I believe, this one, the original Mega Pro, and it's very, let's go ahead and pull out this guy. So of course this one is a larger palette. So you had 16 mattes and 16 shimmers. But when you start owning so many palettes from a brand, the color stories really start to overlap. And the original Mega Pro was very hard to get your hands on. I don't think that they sold the original Mega Pro in Ulta, but by the time we got to this guy, they did. This was the Mega Pro 2, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's softer than the Pro 1, and then it gets to the point where they start to get a little bit more on trend with a little bit more of the orangey crease colors that are even more popular now. So, and again, brands are smart for doing this because people like me who like to have a complete collection will tend to buy them because, oh, I like the first one, oh, I like the second one, so I definitely need the third one. You don't. So then by the time we get to, this is the third Pro, I believe, because I don't believe I bought the one from holiday 2017. I'm pretty sure I didn't. So we should have 2014, 15, and 16 right here. So then by the time you get to this Mega Pro, which would be the third one, and you compare it to the Pro 3, look how similar these color stories actually are. So I mean, if you bought this, did you need this? You know what I mean? I would like to see something different from outside of the Pro palette. And then this, like the contracts, I guess, that they have with Disney to release like their Disney palettes, like Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff like that. You don't really see Lorac doing anything different. I mean, even the contour palette that they released was a Pro palette. And I just want to see, oh, I just realized it has the numbers on them. I'm ridiculous. So I don't know. I just want to see brands like just leave some of their stuff in the past. And I know that you can't revamp an entire brand because then it's going to be like, that's what we're known for. That's why people love us. We're not going to change. But give us something new. So, the worst offender I feel like when it comes down to repetition and repeating the same stuff over and over again, I bet you guys probably already knew who I was going with before we even got here. This is the brand that I probably have the least amount of eyeshadows from. This is a brand I feel like they take it and then they run with it and they keep on going. So we're of course talking about Too Faced. So I have the original Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, which I absolutely loved. As you can tell, it's one of few eyeshadow palettes where I hit major pan on. Then you had the semi-sweet. Then you had the chocolate bonbons, which I did not purchase. Then we have the most recent chocolate, what is this one? The chocolate gold. And then of course there's the white chocolate bar palette. I'm probably missing some. There's the white chocolate bar palette. Then they came out with the mini chocolate bar palettes, the same way that Urban Decay came out with their mini naked palettes. Then they have their chocolate bronzers. Then they have their, I mean, I'm surprised they don't have chocolate setting sprays and all that other stuff. I feel like the chocolate palettes segued into the peach palette, which we all know how this came about. We all know that we were drowning in peaches from Too Faced for a good year and a half. So we had the peach palette, which is probably one of the most hyped up palettes, probably of was this 2016? I believe this was 2016. It was supposed to be limited edition, but they had so much hype behind it that they ended up bringing it back, making it permanent, and giving its own collection. And technically it had two separate collections. I had to pull out my phone just so we could take a second to talk about how many different peach products they had. So there was two main releases of like the peach products. So they came out with the Papa Don't Peach Blush, and then they came out with I'm on my phone, I'm sorry, just so I make sure I get the names correctly, because the first launch I didn't so much fall into the hype. The second time I did. Then they came out with the Too Faced Sweet Peach Glow Peach Infused Highlighting Palette, which I didn't hear good things about. And then they came out with some Too Faced Sweet Peach Creamy Peach Lip Oils, because we needed the peach. Then they came out with an entire peach collection, which spawned the Just Peachy palette, which I actually loved. It was one of my favorite palettes of 2017. It came out, then there is the peach primer, there is the Sweetie Pie peach bronzer, then we have peach blushes, then we have a peach foundation, we have a Too Faced Just Peachy mattifying setting powder, we have a Too Faced Just Peachy setting spray. Too Faced took the peach collection, this singular eyeshadow palette that we all loved. I'll admit, because it's a really nice palette. I do enjoy this palette. Out of the other Too Faced palettes that I own, I do actually kind of prefer this one, but I did like this palette. The smell, it's a little too artificial for me, but this palette that we all liked, we enjoyed. It's a great summer palette. It was fun. It was cool. Definitely, I feel like it wasn't peachy enough. They definitely could have gone a little bit more peachy. This one palette spawned an entire collection. So I need Too Faced They've got their Peach Perfect, they've got their Peach collection, then they came out with a white peach palette that nobody asked for. Honestly, if you're any darker than my complexion, the white peach palette won't work for you at all. There was actually a Sephora representative that was doing my sister's makeup, well, a Too Faced representative that was doing my sister's makeup probably like 4 months ago, and she was like, oh, it's a cute palette, but it doesn't work for anybody with any type of deep dark skin tone. So then they came out with that palette, and I just feel like, okay, Too Faced, we got it, we understood, we appreciated it. I mean, kind of not. And now we're ready to move on. If Too Faced releases one more peach product, like I'm boycotting, okay? So yeah, you guys, this video ended up being a lot longer than it was supposed to be. So I really did hope that you enjoyed this type of video and this concept, because I am kind of going to turn it into a little bit of a series here on my channel. Let me know down below some brands that are driving you crazy, where you're kind of like, enough is enough. We don't need to see any more of that. We got it. You released 87 different items under the same umbrella. Like, enough is enough. But anyways, you guys, this video was made in all good fun. It was just I was kind of going through my collection and cleaning out my collection a little bit, and because I think I'm going to do some decluttering on my channel as well. And then I started pulling out these palettes, and I was just kind of like, Jesus, like, you know that there is a lot of them, but you don't realize how many until they're like in front of your face. But anyways, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Like, I really hope that you did enjoy this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Turn on that notification bell. I really appreciate it if you would. And yeah, you guys, I will see you in the next video.